Today, as you guys know, we kind of sat back today. Every single day you can't be a 300% winner. I mean, I wish it could, but some days the best play is just no play. We have some open, obviously, still, but it's a very real thing, and I want to make sure this is very clear to a lot of our new members, guys. Over trading is a real thing. A lot of people who are new to the market, especially people that hit really big gains, they like to take those gains and just double or quadruple down on something else just as risky as assuming that the same end result is going to happen. And I'll tell you what happens more often than not is you give a lot of those gains back. The best thing that you can do in a scenario like this is just to keep your patience and your practice and know your ranges and know what's going on, because when you try to overtrade, you can really, really hurt yourself doing that, man. Not everything is going to be SOS. This is, awesome that this thing went from $3.30 to $14, but you can't count a future trade ever off of a previous trade. No trade is alike. They're different stocks. They're different sectors typically. They're different entries. They have different fundamentals. I mean, everything about every stock is different. You never want to trade current stock based off of a previous trade. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that people do, all right? They will, let's just use SOS for example, all right? So here's the think tank entry, break of 330, right? To potentially gap up. I sent many different alerts after the entry came in on this, and I just basically told you guys not to sell it. I sent about 10 alerts out like, listen, do not sell this stock. This thing's going to $10 because I had high conviction on this because of the sentiment in this sector and because of what I found out about this stock. I thought it was solid. I thought PT was $10 easy on this, so I didn't think it would happen as quickly as it did, and it even surpassed my expectation. But, this thing had a ton of buying volume and a little bit of FOMO in there. I don't know that this holds like that. We'll see. A lot of stocks that run really fast like that typically have some profit takers, but so far it hasn't showed that it's slowing down yet. So far it's just straight up. So we'll see if it does have some pullback. We do have some new support levels here. But here's what happens with a lot of people, right? They jump into the room. We have some plays going, especially new members. So what they'll do is they will see something that we're already in. Let's just say, for example, we're on, we already closed a lot of these out. So they'll see the tail end of a trade, right? But not all of these have hit yet. When you guys see these things in this breakout section, I'm pretty confident in these levels, man. I'm very confident in most of them. So CRM has still been breaking out. And I want to show you guys the difference between a couple things, all right? I want to show you the difference on how do you know when to close a trade. Is this a day trade? Is it a swing trade? What is my potential target on this, all right? And it's going to vary between every single stock. None of them are going to be an exact science. We have to just roll with the punches as it happens. I'm no fortune teller, guys. I can't tell you to the penny what the stock price is going to go to. If I had that ability, I could certainly promise you that I wouldn't run a coffee shop and own a Discord. I would be a billionaire if I knew the answer to that question. However, what I can give you is high probability and certainty and experience, and which I've given you guys for a year. For anyone that's been following me, we've crushed on so many stocks over the last year. It's unreal, and a lot of that was, the market recovering and us being patient and getting good entries on stuff. So if you guys don't see me post every single day or a bunch of stocks all the time, it's just because I'm not feeling the market that day, guys. My biggest concern is you guys. My biggest concern is the members here. I care about your guys' well-being more than my own. I don't want you guys holding bags. I don't want you guys to take a loss. So if you don't see me posting a bunch of plays, it's because I don't feel that the entries currently on a lot of things are great entries. I think most of them are way overpriced, and most of them are going to lose. However, I want to show you the difference between two different types of breakout plays, as well as a swing play, and I want to give you guys more familiarity with different people's types of plays in general, okay? Which ones are high risk, which ones are low risk, and how should you allocate your portfolio to be able to go into which ones and how much, all right? That's basically what I'm going to try to answer first. That way you guys know. And each one's going to vary as well. It's going to depend how much money you have. It's going to depend on your own risk tolerance. It's going to depend on a lot of things. Nothing is exact, all right? Not all trades are the same for anyone. Some people have enough money to buy every play. Some people don't have enough money to buy one play. So everything is based off of you. Our goal here isn't just to be text alerters, okay? We don't just want to send you a text message like, buy this, because we said so. What we want to do is teach you guys, man, how to see these the way that we see them, and eventually you're going to get so good at it, you're going to get to the point to where you're just going to look at this and you're going to automatically know what to do. We're not even going to have to tell you. That's my primary goal for every single person in here, okay? So using this as an example, we're going to use CRM, pushing 233.73 break. If it holds this level, it can push to 240 plus, okay? That was my analysis on this, okay? On 2/2/2021. And maybe in the future, to try to help people more that can't follow all these exactly, maybe I'll X off the ones that have already broke out and the ones that are still open to potentially go, all right? Maybe that'll help. This is a new channel. I'm doing it just for certain types of traders that wanted stuff like this, all right? This isn't even typically how I trade. I'm a swing trader. I'm a stone cold buy it, support, sell it, resistance type of trader and potentially break out. But it's really hard to buy at support levels when the market's at all-time high. So I'm trying to just add some additive things on here, all right? So looking at CRM and knowing that it had earnings and things like that coming up. So we're going to go over to CRM real quick. Sorry about that. My keyboards are being weird. So looking at this first level, I'm going to show you guys on the daily chart, all right? So looking at this just like this. Here's where we were when I posted the potential break, all right? 233.73. And all I'm looking at is if this level breaks, it potentially can get bare minimum to here, a solid breakout, it could go to the secondary level here, a full breakout, it can go to this top level here. I have no clue which one this will exactly go to. I'm just letting you know that it has a high probability from my analysis and reading these RSI and the volume and the market sentiment and tying these things together. I felt that this had a solid probability to bare minimum get to one of these levels, and if we got a full breakout, maybe all the way up to 270, okay? So looking at this, when this first broke out at 233.73 right here, okay, 233.73, and why do I use 233.73? All you have to do is just scale out and look at which levels it was testing after it fell off right here, okay? So I'm just looking at this whole thing. As this is coming up, it's tried to test this level on numerous occasions and got rejected every time. So on this last one, and we'll get into other different types of, bullish engulfing candles and bullish divergence on the RSI and MACD crossovers and stuff like that. For a lot of new traders, disregard a lot of that stuff right now, okay? We'll teach you guys all that stuff. However, just know that everything over here looked good and it's testing breakout. So to scale in on the 1 hour, you're going to be able to see this even more clearly, all right? So here is the 233 break right here, right? This is the level. This is the level I'm looking at. So if you look back at my post, and we'll try to change this as we go to make things as clear as I possibly can to people who don't understand stuff like this. So if it holds this level, I feel it's going to go to 240 plus. Okay, so looking, once it did break this 233, as you can see, this support level never lost. Okay, it held this level the entire time, and it pushed up to 251. So not only did it go to 240 plus, it surpassed that by $10, and that would have been a really good trade for someone to get in if you're looking for it. And I can't get into every single one of these plays either, guys. I got 100 different people asking me questions. I got a ton of other open positions as well. I just put these out there for you guys, and I get it. I play a lot of them myself, but I can't play every play. All right, I'm playing Callie's, Emily's, my own. I'm searching for new plays, but overall, this is for you guys. All right. So it broke this level. It held its support level. It pushed and went all the way to this third level, and you can see that this had a clear rejection at this top resistance level. It was rejected right here. So now, if this new support holds, this could curl up and retest, maybe trade in a sideways pattern. It's either going to test again and break out, or it will lose this and come to its support level. So how do you know when to get out of a trade? So as this came up to this third level here, as you can see, all right, so here was the break, here was the hold of support, broke through the secondary level right here, pushed up, broke through this level, pushed all the way up and got here, was rejected at the top. It couldn't make it past this point here. This would have been a huge gain if it made it past that point. But so far, it's rejected, but it's still $15 gain in less than a couple days, all right? That's still a really solid trade. So looking at this, you know when to get out of a trade based off of this right here, okay? So when this crossed this first level that I felt that it needed to cross and hold, your stop loss would be if this loses its new support. If this were to come down and show a downtrend, I'm not talking about just for a moment. Stocks have moments where they come down. But overall, if this completely loses its support area, you would get out of this trade with minimal loss, all right? As this is trending up, when it hits 251.23, as you see this rejection, if this were to lose this support level here, I would also get out of this trade here and look to rebuy here, or potentially even if it broke again, because this can still gap fill up to 265 if this area were to break. We do have a gap to fill still. But that's how you know, guys. It's all about, for me, very easy trades, all right? I buy at support, I sell at resistance, or I buy break of resistance, all right? That's all I essentially trade. Very easy for the most part, and most of mine are going to be even a lot easier than this. This is the most complex of my types of trades, all right? Because breakout plays can be tricky. You can have false breakouts. You know, not every one of these are going to work out to benefit everyone, but most of them have, all right? So 7, 8, this one even broke a little bit, 9, 10, let's see, 11, 12. I don't think SWBI broke out. So 11 for 12, 12 for 13. This one has not yet. I still think it will. And Beyond didn't break out. It may have for a moment. Let me see. Break of 180. I think it barely gapped up. Let's check it. I haven't even looked at it. So it was just rejected at this level right here. It just couldn't hold. It couldn't hold this. It couldn't get past this and came straight to the downside. But, you know, even this little small thing here, this isn't what I was looking for on that. If you scale out on Beyond Meat, this one had a lot of upside if it can get past this level here and start trending towards that 221. So we'll see. Support isn't lost here. If this thing comes back to support, I may try again on this, right? Not everything happens immediately. There's not a ton of volume in here, so, you know, this doesn't look good yet. It was just a potential. But most of these plays did really well. And Under Armour didn't break out yet. As you can tell, we had that on there as well for many reasons, but it just wasn't there yet, okay? So looking at CLB, that's one of the newest ones I posted on there. So we're going to look at CLB real quick. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at. So this has a lot of upside if we can get past this area, okay? You see we're at 35.64. This thing had highs all the way up to $75 right here, okay? So from this level down to this right here, I mean, we're looking at, let's see, 40 to 75. We're looking at a pretty significant gain if we were to get across this resistance level here. You can see this is all pretty close. If we were to break this level here, we have a pretty sizable upside. And it does have some news coming, so we'll see. So far, it's not there yet. So far, it's getting rejected at this level, but it's hugging it and holding it. And if you look at it on the 1 hour, it did test and try right here at 37.72. Jumped up, got rejected. It's still just kind of going sideways. We'll see when news comes that this can actually break out, but as you can see overall, a majority of these did break out, and some for very, very significant gains, as you can see with the most notably the SOS and the Baidu, which is down here. A lot of guys made a lot of money on these two, so keep these in mind. If you're a new trader and you're just getting into options, I'm just going to keep it real with you. Don't even worry about these type of plays yet, right? And that's not to go against you or say that you're not capable of doing that, but these type of plays for somebody who's just learning how to trade options, these are way too high risk for you guys, all right? You need to get your game up before you can start trading breakout plays. Breakout plays are not for amateur traders. That's just the truth. And when you're new to trading, the best things that you guys can do is start with options that are cheap, with low implied volatility, and just get a feel for them, right? Get a feel for how volatile options are and how much they move, because people get freaked out on options, man. They see a 50% options loss in a day, and a lot of people are just going to immediately sell those things for a loss. I seen somebody last week sell the ARC-F calls for a loss. This thing literally has gone up for 2 weeks straight. All the way right here. I mean, this thing has been on a tear. I mean, it's had a couple dips, but overall, even if you were to have sold on one of these little dips, overall, this thing is rocking. So it's been on a move since, let's see, January 28th. I mean, it's been straight up for like 2 weeks straight. This thing has gone straight up. And that's because the primary holdings and ARC-F are related to fintech, which is related to cryptocurrency. So, you know, different ways of financing and banking. So looking at this, it looked really strong. It looked really strong after this last dip right here. And I know Emily got some people in this that she was buying this at open. And I know some people that sold this on one of these little red days right here, guys. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, don't go day to day on your trades, right? You cannot sweat every single minute of every day on your stocks, man. You just have to let some of those things ride. Let them develop and let them play out, and trust not only in us, but trust into the catalyst, right? What is going to push that ticker up? And I just couldn't tell you how many stocks that people have sold for losses that have ended up just absolutely going crazy, right? I mean, I know people that literally sold Microvision for $1.50 because it went down 50 cents, you know, at $2. And now this thing's $25. So just keep in mind, on some equity plays, definitely don't go day to day. If we say we're long on a position, we're long on it. When I mean long, I mean we're long 4 to 6 months to a year, right? We don't worry about every single minute of every day on these things. Now, first off and foremost, if your portfolio is 100% options and they expire within 30 days, you need to rethink your strategy, right? Mine most certainly is not that. I have less than 10% of my portfolio in options at all times, And even then, each option never represents more than 2% of my portfolio total, all right? And that's the norm. If you got $1,000 in your portfolio and you're buying $500 options, I mean, these people aren't selling you these options because they have such a high probability to hit. They're selling them to you because 70% of options expire worthless, if not higher percentage than that. You know, we're lucky to have such a high ratio of hitting these things over the last 6 months. I mean, we've hit on a ton of them. So just know your limitations and use risk management better, man. There's no way that the S&P 500, okay, going down just for a couple days should have affected people's portfolios that significantly, right? Because it's barely even gone down. So you're looking at SPY right now. Sorry about that. My charts are not working right. Give me 1 second. Weird. Sorry about that, guys. My Weeble's acting funny. Very strange. All right, here we go. Maybe we got some power outages or something. We got a lot of winter storms over here, so we'll see. But I got really fast internet. I have no clue why this thing's acting funny like that. Very weird. But anyway, when SPY's barely came down over the last couple days, guys, and if your portfolio got crushed in the last couple days and we've barely even came down at all, what's going to happen if we actually have market correction? Because we have not had it yet. I'm going to tell you that right now. Even 2 weeks ago when we lost 6%, 7%, that's not real correction yet, guys. So you just have to diversify your portfolio. You have to know where you're at. You have to set stop losses, and you can't overload on so many different positions like you're playing the lottery, man. This isn't the lottery. We're investing first, and we will utilize every tool that we have, and we'll give you guys the best plays possible, and we have a history of doing so. And there's a lot of people in here that will attest for that, all right? But even we can be wrong. You never want to be so heavy in a position that one red day on SPY crushes you like that. No way. Because if this crushed you, what happens when this happens?
Lost your video.
Oh, yeah? All right, let me jump back over. Yeah, my computer's acting funny. Sorry about that, guys. Everybody can see it now? Can you see it, Jason?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry about that. No clue what's going on with my computer. Right. But you guys never want to be that vulnerable, all right? You see this? I mean, SPY has barely came down at all. If you took 30% losses on your portfolio with this, what happens when these come, right? What happens when something like this happens? Do you want to lose 80% of your portfolio? Or God forbid if real something like this came out. I don't think this is coming, personally, but there's no way that a tiny bit of red should affect people that greatly. If it is, then your money is not allocated correctly, right? Because there's not a ton of losing trades out there right now. I mean, I know that Costco is a little bit down, but cost overall, I bought a Costco today. Cost looks okay. Looking at this, let me show you. So look at this. This is considered a triple bottom, okay? So Costco looks strong right now. I'll tell you guys that. Costco looks good. We're getting some buyers back in here. This is strong support for Costco. Strong support. So as the earnings get near and Costco trends, you see how Costco runs. This thing likes to go on big runs like this, right? It goes up for 4 or 5 days in a row sometimes when it goes. We haven't had that for a while. We're due We got a triple bottom. We got earnings coming up. I personally think Costco hits 365 minimum from its current position. All right. I'm down here at these support levels. Maybe the entry was a little early. I think you guys got it like up in this range. And it's hard to wait till exact, support levels come because people like making plays, man. But you have to wait for these oftentimes, right? Or when you get a starter position, the whole purpose of a starter position is for this scenario, okay? If you were to buy here because you think Costco is going to make a run and you don't think that it's going to come back down and you don't want to miss this earnings run up, you get a starter right here. That way, if it runs without you, you're already in. However, it's only a starter because if it does sell off right here, now you can buy two more and average down and have a really solid average towards these support levels for the run. That's the whole purpose of a starter. You never want to just go in and just load up 10, 20 contracts of Costco, right? Because for one, the thing was 286 to 388 in a matter of months. The thing, even at these support levels, is still very high in comparison to how it's traded forever. Okay, this thing is still very high even at these levels. So you never want to go too heavy in anything, man. I'm just being honest with you guys. But right now, I wouldn't worry that much. It looks pretty solid right now. It bounced right off its lower support. You see this right here. So here's 349.24, and then you come over here and you see Costco right at 350.10. So it bounced right off its support level. Got a cross. RSI is curling up. We have earnings coming up. I say bare minimum it comes to this level right here. So I wouldn't worry yet. Has plenty of time on it. That's why you get these contracts that are a month out, to have these days and to have this play on that. What you don't want to do is buy it here. As soon as it goes to support, you're literally selling at the very bottom before it even moves. That's not what you want to do. However, you don't want to hold contracts to zero either. So just make sure you spread the wealth, man. We have a few other ones I want to show you guys. Let's see.
Is 3% for Costco okay? 3% of my portfolio?
I mean, it depends on your own risk tolerance, man. Costco isn't my play. I'm not really... I typically, to be honest with you, don't play these type of options personally. I go for the cheaper options, and I like to go a little bit heavier in and kind of disperse it differently. Most people in the room know, guys. You guys know which ones I play. I play FCX and stuff like this a lot, right? Because these options only cost about $50, and a $2 move on this can move 500% in a day. So I like ones that are cheaper and can move the massive percentage with a smaller move, right? With real expensive options like that, you're more dependent on large dollar moves. Like I said, man, everyone just has their own style. Callie plays Costco often. I don't think she's lost on a Costco trade yet in 6 months. So, she has a pretty good track record of playing Costco. So I trust when she's buying Costco that it's going to be profitable because it's yet to happen yet, right? I haven't seen her lose on a Costco trade yet, so I'm going to trust her that it's going to be a profitable trade. So I jumped over to it, and I even traded Costco today, and I don't even buy stocks like Costco typically. So I see this support level here. It looked pretty good to me. So I even jumped in on this. We'll see how it goes. 3%, I mean, it's not terrible. I give this a pretty good probability to trend up in the days to come. Does anyone know the exact earnings date for this?
March 5th, I think.
Okay, so it has plenty of time, man. The only thing that would hurt this is if the S&P 500 and the market itself just sells off. But just like Callie said, Costco oftentimes works inversely to the market, right? Because Costco is one of those stocks, kind of like Zoom is, right? Retailers and places like that, they typically kind of go up. When reopening stocks go up, this typically goes down. When reopening stocks go down, this typically goes up. This one essentially works in ways inversely to those other stocks. The same way that Zoom kind of goes down when Dave & Buster's goes up. You see what I mean? Because that's the psychology of stocks like this, is that Amazon and tech stocks, when we were locked down on COVID, were going to be more profitable because people weren't out in the public like that. It's the same concept in regards to the psychology for stocks like this. So that's why these stocks tend to trend up during those times like that. So it's a really good company. I can't imagine it's going anywhere anytime soon. You can look at this thing. This thing was $4. I know it's been a long time, but I mean, look how awesome this stock has done throughout its history. I mean, it's just never stopped. And I can imagine it's even going to go even farther, right? This is still a growth stock, even at these levels. So looking at, somebody asked me about AVRO. So AVRO was actually in a really, really good pattern. I love this pattern right here. This is my favorite pattern to trade, as all of you know. So these are very easy trades, right? When you're watching a stock like this, and we're at 248, has its big run. So this thing maxed out at 1067, probably went a little higher. So 1150, went to 1150 right here. So right here. And you can see that's right where it stopped at too. So 1150 was the previous resistance right here. I just want to show you this, guys, for comparison, okay? So 1150 exactly, right? This is where it went up, because if you look at it on the 1 hour, it hit 1150. So this is right where it hit. You look at this on the daily. When this actually broke out, it's no surprise that that's where it got rejected at, okay? So coming over here, ran up to its previous resistance, got rejected immediately, came back down to its previous support, bounced, and is now trading in a sideways pattern between its new support and its its new resistance, okay? So this is essentially probably going to trade within this range until news or something else pushes it to say otherwise. But looking back at what caused this run right here, these are the plays that we want. These plays typically break out pretty heavy, okay? So stocks that have these big run-ups like that, then they sell off. No stock goes from 2 to 15 and $12 in a day or two is going to hold up those levels. Most of them, almost 99% of them, are going to sell off. So as they're selling off, most of them are going to bounce somewhere along the lines of where they broke out at, right? So about right here, that's where this bounced and found its new support level, okay? So as you're watching this, breakout level, new support level. Now, this trend line support held this entire time. It never lost this trend line support. So if you're trading this stock, even if it's coming down right here, you have very, very high conviction that it is not going to lose this level, because it has not yet in months. This is since December. We're now in February. It's never lost that one time. So you have to go with what it's showing. So as this is bouncing in this area, you can see it tested, breakout here, was rejected. It tested a breakout here, was rejected. And right here it tested and broke out, okay? So as it broke out, it filled this whole gap and got rejected at its previous resistance. Typically when these break out like this, where they bounce at is going to be this level here. The level that it broke out is typically always going to be the new support level for these stocks, okay? So if you're watching this come to the downside and you're wondering where you can potentially buy this at, it's going to be right at that range where it broke out at, okay? So as this bounce here, bounce off its new support, bounce off its new support, and now it's probably just going to trade right in this range, all right? So that's what you have to watch for. If you still like this stock and you still think that it can go higher, I know people that think that it can. So it has other levels that it can potentially break out at. If this thing, and this is why this level was so important, okay? So you see the $12 level, because this goes all the way back to over here, okay? okay? You look at $12 right here. You see this? It goes all the way back to here. So this entire time, it's always essentially just tried to come up and break this level right here. And if I look at it on the 1 hour, you'll see that these spikes actually went higher than what it's showing it closed at, right? And that's essentially what it was trying to break here. And it's never been able to get past this level right here. Very key level. If it were to break this level right here, you better believe this thing's going to start gapping one of those parabolic moves up towards $30, okay? So that's when you see those stocks that just go on those huge runs, is because of history like this, okay? Just like we seen with Polar Power a few weeks ago. That thing
that was a good stock. Who called that at $7?
You did, buddy.
Nice. You didn't take it though.
I don't recall if I did or not, man. To be honest with you.
It's like a week ago. All right.
So when you see these things have these big breakouts like that, all you got to really do is just go off of its history, you know. So this one had a previous all-time high around $12. You know, it shredded right through this. So I'll be watching this when it comes to the downside to bounce right at this range right here. This is typically where these will accumulate at. But the number one key thing I want to show you guys tonight, other than risk management and not going so crazy, because I'm telling you right now, I've followed the stock market for a very long time. I've never seen stocks and people trading the way that they are, man. It is just, it's never before seen. It's a whole entire different world. All the meme stocks and all the pumping going on. There's more pumping going on than I've ever seen before. People are pumping these stocks that are near bankrupt and, you know, convincing these new traders to buy, you know, AMC at $26 and stuff. I mean, it's seriously crazy, man. And I'm never going to have you guys buy stocks like that. I'm always going to have you guys buy at support levels and sell to those people who are crazy enough to buy $30 AMC or $450 GameStop. And that's not knocking Wall Street bet guys either. I'm glad that they made a stance like that. Institutional investors have been manipulating stocks since the beginning of the stock market. And they've been bullying retail investors for a long time. And I was hoping it did short squeeze all the way to $1,000. And I was hoping it did bankrupt one of those guys. That way, maybe they'll make some more rules and regulations in that regard. However, for me to be one of the leaders and to helping you guys find financial wealth and growth, I'm never going to tell you guys to buy something crazy like that. I'm never going to give you one of these pump stocks that are up 500% in a week. And that's why when I was creating my new list last week, man, there just isn't nothing. There were 300 stocks, okay, across markets, OTC, everything. Do you guys know how many penny stocks in the stock market are under $1 right now? It's only 4, okay? There was over 50 just a couple weeks ago. There was about 100 about 3 months ago. Think about that. People are basically just searching for any stock under $1 and just buying it up because penny stocks are just flying everywhere. And that's not the way that you are successful, man, because these cycles, they come and they go. They come and they go. You do not want to chase these things, man. You can just look at these histories. Look at Atos. We even play this stock. We have shares of this stock, but we bought it at support levels. We're swinging into the FOMO buys, right? And it happens throughout all of history. You can just keep looking back. This thing has had a whole bunch of little pumps in the past, right? Big pump, big pump, big pump, big pump, big pump. This is a long time. You're talking about years right here, okay? Happens every year. So this last big pump from 75 cents all the way to $5, it came all the way back to 75 cents, man. This big pump all the way to $8 came back to 75 cents. After every one of these runs, these things end with coming back to their lower support levels, right? Every single one, almost every single time. That goes to Naked Brand, that goes to top ships, all the oil tankers and penny stocks. these stocks are notorious for offerings and dilution, and their investors are not their first prerogative. I promise you that. Their shareholders have been decimated and diluted almost to nothing over the years. You get a couple 100-to-1 reverse splits, and your share count keeps getting cut by 100, and that stock still goes back to the same level that you bought it at. They said something crazy like $100,000 invested in Top Ships 20 years ago would be like 10 cents or something right now. That's how diluted that stock is, right? So you play the pumps on these things and you get the heck out of these things, man. Unless it's a growth stock, because there are stocks that are penny stocks that can be great stocks. And sometimes it's hard to differentiate the difference between those. It really is, because a lot of companies put shells on and they make their company appear to be more than it is. Even Riot is being investigated still for adding blockchain to its name to make people think it's more related to crypto than it really is. It is a mining company now. It does mine crypto, but when it was 51 cents this year, this was a pharmaceutical company. This company has had 7 different names in the last 7 years, and 6 of them were pharmaceutical companies that failed miserably, and they diluted their shareholders to nothing. Now they added blockchain, mining a little bit of crypto. Maybe the CEO's got it right this time. Maybe this is going to be a wildly successful stock. I don't know. But I am telling you this, these people that bought at these levels thought the same thing. Is it going to be the same thing here when this thing literally went down for 5 years straight? I can't say that because cryptocurrency is really hot right now. I can't tell you that this stock isn't going to go up, but I can tell you right now it's more likely than not going to go much farther down than it will go up, right? You do not want to buy this thing at 61.27, not something that was 51 cents. What you want to do is find a stock that is reasonably low and it could be the next Riot. We already missed the boat on this, right? We even had this stock. We've had Riot and Fuel Cell and all those things in the last 6 months, all right? We're not chasing something up 2,000%.
Hey, it's Callie.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, just wanted to pop in for a little bit.
All right.
Awesome. What you're saying is 100% on point. I do want to just touch base on a couple things right now, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, that this market right now is so overvalued, and I wanted to just touch base on that. And I mean, last week we killed it with a ton of amazing trades, but going into this week and how I've been taking a look at SPY, and it's just I'm getting into really nervous levels with how the overall market is acting. And I think that we're definitely due for a pullback, and I think everybody in the room that's been with us since September and October kind of is aware of that, but we have a lot of new people in our room that I feel aren't 100% aware of that. So I kind of wanted to mention that as well. I also wanted to take a second to discuss emotional trading, and I'm seeing a lot of traders do these FOMO chases, like you said, like on Riot, $60. I had a member message me that said that they threw $900 into a call on Riot, and you have to understand that when you're doing those types of trades, again, you're chasing, which is not the style of trading that we do. And in their case, they took a very, very high risk trade on these options. You guys have to understand that Mara and Riot, when we were playing them, I played Mara and Riot when they were down to $1. I had Mara at 101. That those call contracts on these were 5 cents a contract, and now they're, what are they, freaking hundreds and hundreds of dollars, up to thousands on some of them, $1,300 a contract. You have to understand that those are very, very high risk trades, and the fact that I hate to say it, but the stock market is operating like a casino right now, and that's not normal by any means. Like, a lot of what we do is catalyst trading. We pick up things, with a very strong catalyst, like an earnings or a conference or, a SPAC play, something like that. And in these types of cases, like these contracts are way overinflated and they're going to dump hard. So I just want to emphasize, if you're engaging in any of these trades, like, you need stop losses, or you have to be very aware that you could go 90% down on these positions.
Yeah, I agree.
And then in regards to positions that we already have going on, I kind of wanted to touch base on that as well. I mean, we spend hours looking at these charts. Myself, Dale, Emily, Austin, Drew, and I want to say something about Drew's calls, but in regards to the plays that we have out, like, we've been staring at them. We have strong catalysts behind them. You guys should definitely kind of understand and trust in that with us. I mean, today alone, I got 40 messages about Costco, and I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I'm absolutely not worried about it. Please just average down. And that's something else to say about our buy alerts. If you guys are in our positions, that, you know, we're very strategic about our entries. And again, not every trade is 100% perfect, right? So not going too heavy and loading them. I have a page open on how to buy our alerts, how to load them. I even put out percentages. You know, if I have $1,000 to invest, this is how much I should invest, so on and so forth. So I just kind of want to emphasize that as well. And when you're chasing those high up positions, you know, the risk is very, very high. And if you have a low risk tolerance, which is something that every trader should assess for themselves, then you need to be very cautious and not engage in those trades, because they can be very, very high risk. But in regards to the plays that we do have out, there is a strategy that we have for these things. And we won't leave you guys hanging. If we have an open position out, we will let you know when we've taken that position, when we've averaged down, and when we've sold it. You don't really need to message us 100 times and ask us all these questions. Like, we're here. We're in the same boat as you are, and I just kind of want to reemphasize that as well. When it comes to, like, the emotional trading side of things, it's very easy to get upset and overwhelmed looking at something that might be down 20, 30%. But at the same time, it can change in the very next day. So I want to emphasize that as well. That not to panic trade or see that you're down on a position and immediately close it out. If there's no bad news and it's trading within its channel, it's still an active position, and to hold through it. So I just kind of want to emphasize that we need to remove ourselves from that emotional trading. Also, I posted, there's a really good ebook that I posted up about trading styles and how to not trade off of emotion, and how to not, go after these FOMO plays, and things like that. So I posted that in New to Trading. I did tag everybody. I just kind of want to reemphasize all of those things, and I'll let you get back to it. But
okay, cool, yeah. And most of the people here understand that. Most of the people here are experienced, and she's only talking to people that are very new and just don't understand those things, guys. Listen, we like to take high-risk trades as well sometimes, as long as they're done correctly. I'm not going to buy something up 600% in a day. I'm always going to go for these. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this stock right here, I give this a 90% chance that it's going to do what it's done since 8/31. Okay, so you look at KPTI. We've traded this 3 times already since this date, 3 times successfully. So each time this trend line support level has gotten a little bit higher, all right, and the swings have gotten a little bit higher. So when we buy at these support levels down here, it doesn't take long for these things to go, all right? So you look at this one. This is at 1380. It reached a high of 1793 just within, this is 11.2, this is 12.1. So essentially a month to go from bottom support to resistance, okay? Here was 12.16 to 12.18, 2-day hold from 14.27 to 18 plus. Same thing here, happened really fast. And this one does have news in the pipeline. That's why we grabbed it here at 1470. And this one did hit, let's see, it jumped all the way to 1850. So you can see where we bought it at the support. It quickly jumped to 1850 for a really quick, easy trade. All right. These are very low risk and high reward. And I know that a $4 gain isn't necessarily what everyone's looking for on these, but these types of trades add up, man. If you have enough capital to buy 1,000 shares of this, and within 3 days this thing makes $4 or $5 a share, you're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 gain in a very short period of time. So I personally like to play these quick swings like these often, and you see a whole bunch of these that I play like this. And this one you can actually buy options on too, but the bid-ask spread is a little large. You kind of have to put a lower bid and get filled at a good price. You don't want to just buy this at the mid price. And if somebody doesn't understand what I'm saying when I say that, because I know we have a lot of new people here, this is all I'm saying, okay? If the bid is 0.10 and my ask is 0.30, then my mid price is 0.20. It's automatically going to make you try to buy it at whatever the difference between these two are, okay? And the larger this spread is, the higher this mid price is going to be, and the worse fill you're going to get. Some of them are 0.05 and 1.00, right? And so your mid price is going to be the difference between these two. Now, you don't want to buy something like that, especially with a mid price like that. So when you have these larger spreads like that, you have to put a lower bid in or find an options chain that has a tighter spread. And what causes this spread is open interest, okay? If there's no volume or people buying these options, then if two people have a bid in at $5 and there's like two people with an ask of $1, then your mid price is going to be exactly that, man. There just isn't enough volume on that. So the ones that do have higher volume, it's impossible to have a larger spread because there's too many people trading it. There's hundreds or thousands of people now that have a bid at 0.25 and an ask of 0.30. So now your spread is going to be within 0.05. And these are the ones that you typically want to buy. The most I go is probably a spread of 0.10. That would be about the highest I go. If it's higher than that, I typically stay away from it unless it seems like a really good deal for me. So I have my own strategy, and everyone has their own strategy, okay? My overall goal in the stock market is to accumulate shares of stocks that I believe can have massive upside over the next year, okay? So stocks that I believe in are typically stocks that I trade, and that's not always the case. Sometimes I'm just trading, but a lot of times I'm investing, okay? So if I do swing trade a stock that I do believe in, and I'll use my number one here, DTIL, because you guys know that I buy this on each support level. I'm swing trading this stock to accumulate essentially free shares of the stock. If I buy this at $8 and I sell it at $16 for 100% gain, now my entire initial investment is off the board. I'm going to keep the difference between of my profit on this. I'm going to take my original investment out, and I'm just going to keep what I made on this. And the reason I do that is because my price target for this company is $25, $30, $40, maybe $50. And in years to come, I think it could be higher than that. So what I'm really trying to do is accumulate stocks and shares of stocks that I believe in that have exponential growth, right? And that's the same thing for biotech and gene editing stocks, but it's also the same for energy stocks that I think could have a rebound, right? I really like OPTT. I know it's getting pumped by some Investor Pro and a couple other guys on there, but I'm happy to say that we were buying this thing long before he jumped on that bandwagon. We were buying this thing at $2.70 before this big run to $7.30, and right now, it's accumulating and finding a new support level right here. So I still have my my free shares of this, and I'm gonna continue to hold these things because you look back at the history of this, and for me, I think that ocean power energy is one of the most underrated industries in the world because over 70% of the world's surface is covered in water. So what better element essentially to provide energy for the world is for what majority of the world is made of. So if they can master this technology to convert salt water into a form of energy via solar or reverse osmosis or whatever method they're using to generate power through heat. Sometimes people have regional and local things like volcanoes and things like that to generate heat that are natural to the earth. This has a lot of upside for me. So I like this company, and I like a lot of companies like it. So this is like the ones that I like to buy. That's why I like Polar Power so much, because of all their military contracts and what they're representing. And that's why I mentioned the Blue Spear one. That's a really cheap OTC stock. Now, these are super high risk. If you think penny stocks on the NASDAQ are high risk, these are absolutely high risk, all right? So don't go in super heavy on these, but some of these can be very profitable too. This thing's trading at 2 cents right now, all right? 2 cents, it's got support around 1 cent. And I know that doesn't seem significant. However, you put $10,000 in this and it goes from 2 cents to 1 cent, that's 100% loss. So just keep that in mind. The cheaper it is, the more violent these things are going to swing. But if you were to go to the Blue Spear website, you guys can look at this, okay? And you can see what this company is about.
They're local. They're local to me.
Oh, really? Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people that like this stock a lot, man. I think it's got a lot going on with it. So let's see what they got. I wanted to show you guys the main website on it. I had it saved on here. My apologies. Here we go. So this company is all about turning endless waste into endless energy. All right, this is what they're about, and there are numerous ways that this company goes about it. Right, and some of these companies could be real home runs. If you guys do recall, Plug Power was on the OTC and it traded for 8 cents. We're buying $70 calls on this thing right now. So can this be the next Plug Power? Maybe. It's not likely. Most things are not likely, but can this thing go to $1 or even higher one day? Absolutely it can, especially with all the new things that are going to be implemented by the Biden administration. We'll see. Look into this company on your own whenever you do have some free time, but this place is pretty awesome what they got going on, all right? They got a lot of different stuff going on. Agricultural livestock, which makes up a ton of different carbon emissions in the world, and just check this place out. Pretty cool. Only 2 cents. I think I'm gonna buy some of this, even more, and just keep it in an account that I don't look at. All right. And
Dale, you mentioned that in the call earlier this morning or this afternoon, and so I researched it before. In 2010, that company was trading at $17,000 a share.
Well, I'll tell you what happens with that is when you look at stocks. Okay, like I'll just give you a quick example. Okay, let's go to Top Ships. I can promise you, Top Ships was never this high. So what happens with stocks like this is, let's just use this for an example. If Top Ships is 5 cents, which it was this year, okay, and they do 100-to-1 reverse split. Now, if you own 100 shares of this stock and they do 100-to-1 reverse split, or a 10-to-1, or whatever one you want to use, they do it all the time, okay? Let's say 10-to-1. So now you have 10 shares of this, but your 0.05 is now multiplied times 10. So now the stock would be like, $5 a share or whatever the split is. You see what I mean? But when they do split it, it splits the whole history of the stock. And every time they split, it multiplies its history based on its split price. Some of them are 500-to-1, some are 1,000-to-1. Just depends on what it is. But it splits its share history, and sometimes the levels show elevated levels that it actually never was at. And that's the same thing with Aurora Cannabis. Aurora Cannabis was never $150 a share, ever in its life. Aurora Cannabis was 70 cents a share right here this year. But they did a reverse split this year. That way they can get some of the penny flippers out of there. And it's also split its history. So, you would have to divide this by 15. I believe they had a 12-1 or a 15-1 reverse split. And that would have been its history. And some charts will show you the split history on that. But, Blue Spear could have been a heck of a lot higher than 2 cents. A lot of these companies, they trended down for years. But I've looked into it. I like their vision. I really do. And for this thing to only be 2 cents, I mean, you just never know with some of these companies. You guys look at that drone company that we had recently. You guys seen it? AL, let's see. This one right here. So you look at this. This was, let's see. I want to show you something recent on this. This thing was 3 cents, okay? 3 cents right here. This is this last year, September, all the way to November, all right? This thing was under 5 cents. So China and the United States outlawed the drones that you most notably see in the United States. And now this is the only drone that you're allowed to get legally here. They outlawed the Y2G, whichever brand it is, the drone that everyone used to use. So now this drone got a ton of hype. So this thing's just been on a tear. So it went from 3 cents and it just hit $9.49, now trading at $7.45. So some of these OTC stocks can really go if they get the right momentum. And now they're saying that this thing's likely to probably even come to the NASDAQ soon. So we'll see if it can even go even higher than that. That would be a real success story if this goes from 3 cents to, and you've seen a lot of these other drone stocks. UAVS, drones are hot right now. These things are flying. So,
hey, Dale, got a question for you, man.
All right.
So you guys talk about the mentality of traders in terms of like the gambling versus actually trading. What do you think is like the mindset of a person who gambles versus a person who's like a trader or a person who
Okay, sure, man. Really easy. So let's just use this for example. We'll just use some of the parabolic ones right now, right? Gambling would be buying a stock that is up 2,000%, on the month. Really, really high risk, not even much reward. I mean, what is the odds that one of these companies are going to go higher than 2 or 3 or 5,000% more than they already are, right? I mean, from $1.48 to 50 is already such a significant move. The upside is very limited, but the downside is critical. I mean, this could absolutely wipe an account out if you're heavy on this thing, right? Going from $45 back to $1 or whatever. Do I think that's going to happen with Mara? I do not. Crypto's got a lot of momentum or anything right now. I'm just using it as an example. If you're trading, okay, and you're buying at support levels and you're just going long on these things, those are just, it's about risk. And these are very low risk trades opposed to just extremely high risk trades. And a lot of people, they just go so heavy into so many positions every day because they're trying to just make as much money as they can. Every day they're just trying to, go all in with options. And, it's awesome if you can make 10 or 20 grand in a day. But, if you have that down day where you lose 10 or 20 grand, that's not so cool. So you have to find a balance in there, right? So what I like to do is play high probability trades, and I use my profit to go into something that's higher risk. Worst case scenario, that option goes to zero. All I lost was profit from a swing trade, opposed to just going in with 50% of my portfolio on something that has a 30% chance or less to even be profitable, period. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all I mean. It's just
No, I was curious because I know that the stock market since Robin Hood has came out since last year has been pretty hot, and a lot of people got really hyped about the GameStop, and now a lot of people are joining in, and I'm thinking that maybe that has a lot to do with why everything is up so high.
it's a mixture of things, man. So I mean, the stock market's been rolling. Long before that stuff even happened. I mean, it's up significantly now, but even before all that, even before COVID happened right here, I mean, we were on a tear from 2010 all the way to 2019. I mean, it's literally straight up for 9 years. You know what I mean? So this was the first little blimp we've had in a while, and it recovered immediately. So S&P 500 is the best 500 companies in the world, and we're now at a point in technology, man, to where we're at a very critical level in time. They're starting quantum processing in regards to computers. We have nano processing. We have 3D printing. We have the genomic space that is breaking levels in regards to disease that we've never seen before. We have like 5-6 different technologies now that are breaking thresholds that we've never in history broke before. This is like Kathy Wood says, this is essentially like the invention of the light bulb or electricity. Prior to electricity, there was nothing, everything that stemmed from harnessing power like that. Look at all that was created from that. From our microphone to this computer to everything, all came from electricity and understanding electrons and conductivity in regards to copper and negative and positive ionization and creating batteries via piezoelectric effect all the way to alternating current, being high voltage, traveling, the electromagnetic induction. So many things came from it that it just created a whole new world. And some of the things that are happening right now could essentially start the path for a whole new direction of tech to just get even crazier, man. Like things that we can't even really fathom yet. Most people in the 1800s would never have thought that, you could split an atom or create a nuclear bomb or have high-speed fiber optic internet and we could be chatting across the world. We got people in this chat room right now in Australia. So all the things that stemmed from something so simple as just harnessing electrons, imagine in the genomics field where you could essentially cure disease before it even happens from birth, to cure blindness, to cure cancer, to do all of that. So that space is booming. The space sector, is getting bigger. We're launching more things more than ever into space, and a lot of profitable companies. And you see what Virgin Galactic's doing with their space trips and what they're planning. It's like the Disney World of Space and SpaceX and Virgin Orbit. There's a whole lot of great companies coming out in so many different sectors that it's just a game changer, man. Online betting, the way that we watch TV with Roku and Netflix, it just takes one company to really just change the game on something. Prior to Netflix, we all used to flip through 200 channels. It was crazy because we all had 200 channels, but there wasn't nothing to watch. Right? You flip through your channels forever. There's nothing on TV with all those channels. It took forever to find something to watch. Now, basically everything's customized to what you like. Same with music, same with everything. Same with sports. So there's a lot of things going on right now that weren't going on 10 years ago. And that goes with computing all the way to cell phones to everything. So now the stock market is more accessible than it ever was, and it's easier to do than it ever was. So that is a big part of it as well. Just like you're saying, more people now are aware of the stock market, and there's probably more money going into the stock market than there ever has been. Maybe not from institutions.
That was actually an article that said that Robinhood investors poured something like a double-digit billions into the stock market in 2020 alone.
Wow.
So it was 2019 and 2020 alone, they poured I don't know, like some number. I'm pretty sure the article, you can pull up the article, but yeah, it's that's the reason why I was asking the question, that it might also, the way that options in the stock market is going now, it might also be because of that, because so many people like myself and like probably a lot of people in this chat room are just coming into it and just like putting money into it, and now everything just seems crazy because of it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And we're just going to have to roll with the punches, and as the market changes, we're just going to have to change with it. Right now, it's just kind of a trade-by-trade basis. Right now, I'm basically playing it catalyst by catalyst right now. I'm not necessarily long on the market right this second. I am long-term. Short-term, it seems a little overextended to me. So right now, here's what I do, guys. When I start my day or at nighttime when you guys aren't around, first, I start looking into multiple different things, okay? You could jump to FinVids and look at news. You can go to screeners. You can see top gainers and losers and try to catch some bottoms on these things, right? See which ones are falling off to potentially catch some support levels down there. You can go to like near highs to see some that are about to break out. I have the FDA calendar that you guys see me use. So I jump over into this and look for catalyst dates for us, and I try to tie catalyst dates with a chart. If you can combine those two together, typically it's a very good recipe for success because we've successfully done it over 50 times now. So you guys see that we watch these things and we know when dates are coming, and we try to catch them at support, and we swing them into these catalysts for high probability trades. There are some guys on stock tweets that are pretty solid, that aren't just pumpers, Some of these guys just pump, but some guys on here got some really good charts. I also have tip ranks that I look at. Tip ranks is pretty solid. This thing's stacked with a lot of 5-star analysts and people that really do their homework, man. And there's some really good articles on here. So I go into tip ranks. I don't really read the Motley Fool too much. Every now and then I'll look at a few things, but they're mostly just, even in their own website, they're just advertising. Like, you can barely even see what they're picking. It's just basically the all-in stock alert, like even within their own website, you can barely navigate it. There's not a lot of good stuff in there, but they're okay for long-term investors. We use the Lucid tracking. If you guys want to keep what the ARK ETFs are doing, this one's really awesome. So you can see, you can pick any one they're in. Let's say the genomic field. You want to go to ARKG right here, okay? You can kind of scroll down and see which ones they're in. So PacBio, if you want to see how much they've bought as this has gone up. So this pink line essentially shows you how much they're buying in relative to the stock price, okay? So this is the stock price. So as the stock price is going up, you can see that ARK is trimming. They're trimming their position and kind of taking these highs out, all right? It's not that they don't believe in this company, but they trade also. Everyone knows that when these stocks are parabolic like that, this thing was under $5, now trading at $50, $55, they're going to cut some of their position at the top. That's what everybody does, man. You trim your positions and secure profits. So you can go to basically any of these and you can see how much they sold that day. It'll show you 216, 208, 80,000. 216 in ARKG, they cut 800,000, 34. Yeah, they've been cutting. So you can basically go to anything that they've bought or sold and see that through this website. And some of them is really good, man, because some of them will draw your attention to some that we're not even aware of yet. Whether it's fintech, whether it's the genomic space or the robotics, they got a lot of good ones in here. So here's the one Emily brought to all of our attention. She made her YouTube video. I don't know if you guys all seen that. So she made one that her top SPACs. I don't know if anyone watched it or not. We're still getting very used to this, guys, but 3 EV SPACs right here. Emily was talking about this one, right? So this was one of the ones in there. So you look at, sorry about that, I'm gonna close the whole thing out. ACIC was one of them. So we'll jump over here and look at this. That's this one right here. You can see ARK Invest has been buying this up as well. So it looks like Emily got people in even before ARK Invest got in there. Emily's been doing a lot of research on space stocks and robotics, and not a lot of people have taken heavy positions in a lot of her SPACs, man, but she's had some really great ones. We just sold PDAC. We trimmed our position this morning for 70% and 60% gain. We haven't had that thing for more than a month, so some of those things are really solid, man. So you can see this here. They bought on 2/16. They started buying ACIC. This is in the ARKQ. Then you can go back and to see basically all their buys on this. So they just started a position in this company, and if you look into what this company is, guys, you know, it's pretty awesome. Emily explains it really well. So we're going to make some better ones. We're very, very, very new to YouTube, guys. We're no YouTube stars by any measure. We do not think we are, and, you know, we're just basically doing it for you guys. We may not be the most charismatic, but we will absolutely get our point across, and we will record some of our sessions and what we're talking about to try to help you guys to the best of our ability. But we're getting there. We're getting a little better, and we'll see where it goes. But looking at the ARKG, looks like they just bought some. Let's see how much they just bought of this. So yeah, they're adding. You can see their dip buying right here. You can literally see as this is dipping, they're adding right here. So looking at this company, ACCD, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what that company is, but sometimes when they buy something, you know, I'll just jump over and check it out. You know, I'll see what the company is. So this one was, what was it, ACCD? I don't even know what it is, so let's check it out.
I see a bunch of memes.
Yeah. Okay, so our guy in our room, he posted this. So if you guys ever notice, he is in our room. He posts catalysts in our room every single morning almost, all right? And I'm going to show you guys where to find him at. You come down here to Google Sheets, and you look right here, and he typically posts, you see him as SB90 in here, all right? He shows you company events, and you know, he's got a really good stuff in here. If you guys ever look at his spreadsheets are awesome. So check these out. Earnings calendar, he has all these ready to go too. Company events, momentum. So he basically breaks down all the momentum going on in the market just like this, and he has them in our room every single day. So you can see it just like this. Pfizer, you know, whatever it is going on, he's got it ready to go, and whatever information. I'll tell you what I use the most with him. He's really good, and he's on PT upgrades. And PT upgrades are solid, because if you get a PT upgrade by a very known analyst, those stocks typically like to go up in a hurry on there. So looking at this, he's got a full rundown of Palantir. But keep that in mind. He'll be posting more on there. But that's where they're at, all right? They're right there in Google Sheets, and he'll be there all the time. Here's the Note 1211. He didn't post one this morning. I'll reach out to him tonight and see if he's going to post the new ones on there. So beyond those, Lucid Tracking, I also have Trading View. So if you guys ever jump into Trading View, there's a lot of people on here. They have ideas. They'll show you different chart patterns or flag patterns. A lot of crypto trading on here, so I don't necessarily go with the crypto ones too much, but if you want to see like a bullish pennant, you'll see a bunch of guys that have different ideas. And it's not necessarily you're going to go exactly off what people are showing, but some of these guys on here are really good at charting, man, and it will help you find some good patterns that you can basically do some more due diligence into after this. So you see you right here as a falling wedge breakout. So that looks really clean to me. I love this play right here. This is the same play that we played on FEBs, right? So we're going to keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you FEBs. We had our own falling wedge breakout. I'll show you guys to you right here. This is our falling wedge that we played on FEBs. Right here. See that? very clean, very solid. So
My
this
bad, Dale. Where'd you go to get that chart you just looked at?
this one here,
No, on the previous one.
Trading View.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one's like I post charts on here as well for other people. It's basically where people share their ideas and their charts. So I'll start off in Weeble and show mine, and then I'll go over there and make it a little better and add some different numbers into it. But this is a clear-cut falling wedge breakout pattern, right? This is a powerful pattern, and these things like to break to the upside massively, all right? So freeze frame this chart right here, and remember this, and look at this right here.
In that falling wedge, how do we know when it is at its support? Like,
okay,
so hard, like
yep.
it's falling, right?
I'll show you. Show you right now. I'll show you how I knew that FES was going to break out. So looking at FES, here's the falling wedge. Very tight, clear pattern, right? Support, resistance, bounce, down to support, up to resistance, down to support, breakout. Why did it break out right here? And why was I watching for this break of this downtrend line? Because of this right here. So I scale out a little bit and look at the daily. So here's my falling wedge. Okay, right here. This is a bad view of it. It's because FES went so massively up. 82.47 was our break. It went to $200, so it's giving me a bad view of it. But as this was falling, it had support here and here based off of its history, right at the same exact level. So I just took this support level and came straight across on this and kind of correlated it with its bouncing off its support in the falling wedge, and the next uptrend was the downtrend line. So that's typically how you see those things. They're going to bounce off their previous support areas or an area that it broke out in the past, okay? So if you're watching this, you could basically draw this all the way back to one of these areas that it had to break in the past, okay? So when this is uptrending here and it broke this level or lost this level, just know that this was a very key level in its history because it's acted as its support and it's acted as its resistance, as most stocks will do. So when you're really scaled in on this thing, and you can see this, it was very clear that this was the previous support levels down here, and as I showed you in the past over here, as it was bouncing off this level right here, that's where the last time that it bounced before it broke out. So 82.43 was the break, and then you guys can see this thing just started shredding through resistance levels, and it held each level, and it eventually broke out all the way to almost $200. It has since sold off all the way back to the support level. Look, it looks like it's about to bounce, to be honest with you. FES is right at its new support. So this was the level that it had to break. It's essentially right there right now. So is it a buy? Yet to be determined. It did run pretty heavy, but it did lose a lot. This was the area it broke out at both times, all the way up to 196. This is also the area it's likely to bounce at. We're just going to have to watch some volume and see where it stands on there. But jumping back to Trading View, Unity software. So we'll check this one out ourselves and see if we can see the same one. I wonder what time frame he was looking at here. Oh, okay. He's looking at it on a very small scale. Yeah, very, very small scale is what he's looking at. I don't necessarily completely agree with this. Let's see.
They recently had their earnings and it didn't do well, and it continued to fall after that.
Okay. Yeah, not too bad. You know, you can identify these patterns on essentially any timeline, man, but I typically like to find my patterns kind of on a larger scale because I like to look at the big trend of things, you know. When we're looking at things like Virgin Galactic Holding and stuff, you know, and I've had so many people ask me over time, like, where a good entry on this thing is, this thing has had a ton of entries all year, right? Any one of these entries right here, anytime this has ever reached this support level, and once it broke out, it found new support, it's had an entry at support a whole bunch of times, and the new support is probably going to be right here. So this is likely going to be the new support area for space, but throughout its history, it's essentially fell to its trendline support level many times, as you can see right here in its past. It just kept bouncing off of it and trending up. So I like to look at these kind of macro trends and just be patient on these things, man. I don't like to play things on the real short-term basis. That's just not typically my style. So I want to show you guys another one. Someone did ask me about this one today. I'm still big on this stock, guys. I'm not worried about this one whatsoever. APXT, we are in still, and I will be holding this. Very easy trade for me, okay? So since it got its news and broke out, it hasn't lost this support level yet. Until it proves that it will, I'm going to trade it. So this typically pops right to this $18 range, comes to support, 18 range, comes to support, 18 range. If you look at this on the 1 hour, this last one actually did go to 18 as well. It just doesn't show it on the daily. But it went to these same levels every time. So as this came back to trendline support again, I'm buying here. I'm going to swing this thing to 18 again. I'm going to trim some of my profits, and hopefully one of these times, as we swing and test this resistance, one of these times this thing is going to break out of this and use this resistance as a new support, and hopefully we can uptrend from there. A lot of these SPACs do have a lot of upside. You guys see with Open Door Technologies, this thing's been on a tear, so it looks really good. You can see this really solid trend all the way up. Tested its breakout right here and just broke out all the way to $40. So this thing was a SPAC recently as well. As you know, this is one of the Chamis SPACs. So right here at 1055 was a SPAC this whole time. Now we're at $40, and I know people that think this thing's a $100 stock. So if you can buy these things at this $10 and $12 range, these things do have a lot of upside. That's why we like to get into some of these SPACs, and Emily posts a lot of SPACs. So if you look back in Emily's history, she's posted some really great ones. She got me in DraftKings this year. She got me in Fisker early on, a whole bunch of them. So when Emily posts some SPACs, and most recently she got the whole group into EXPC. So we're all in this one right now. So here we are. We got this thing at $14. We just hit a recent high of right around 2080, and right now we're just solidly trending up. So Emily got us in right here. I'm going to show you guys why. So after this stock broke out right here, it is yet to lose this support level. It's never lost this support level. As it came to this range again, Emily researched the company and felt that it had a solid upside for what they do, and she got us in right here. Our PT on this is, to be honest with you, if it gets enough momentum, it can easily go to $30 or plus. So this one's probably going to be one of the main ones in the space ETF. Whenever Kathy Wood does end up creating this, there's no telling exactly when it's going to go down, but it's probably going to take a little bit of time. So ACIC.
You mentioned Holly City. Is that also?
Oh, absolutely. I love this company, man. I'm 100% buying this. So.
Is it a buy at this price though?
Yeah, it is. This company's got a ton of upside. To be honest with you, on a long-term potential, it's laughable that this thing is $19. I mean, this thing is going to be generating so much revenue from these people. They're going to be astro. Yeah. Look at this,
so
man.
Impressive. Like they're going to compete with SpaceX so well. It's got a great team. So yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, they're going to be working with SpaceX. They've already got contracts with them and everything, man. they basically, let's see here. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. So it's still pretty new. A lot of the hype kind of wore off already, but as this thing gets closer, you can better believe 2.1 billion valuation, 200 million pipe. This is gonna be good, man. A lot of companies need this, so we'll see where it goes. I like this company a lot. I think that we all need to dig a little deeper into this and see where we can go. But I like HOL a ton, so we'll be watching this, and it's essentially a buy right now. It's pretty much at support right this second. So you see, here's a solid support. This is a level it tested. This is a level it broke out at. So now this is our new support level. As we came to the downside, it bounced right at the same level. So it's essentially at support right now. Maybe a little bit more to the downside if you want to count pennies. It could potentially go to 18.50, but I say $1 downside for support. Upside, this thing could be $50 or $100 in the next couple of years. We'll see. Maybe more. Depends on how much demand there is going to be for it. But I know a lot of people that like this thing a lot.
Dale, CBAT looks pretty good right now too. This is about to break out. I'm reading.
Yeah, awesome. You guys all know I love this company, man. I've jumped in this thing a bunch of times. The last time we jumped in, it looked pretty solid. It looked like it was going to swing a little quicker than it did, but it ended up finding support a little lower. This actually looked about like this. I thought that it was losing support, but it could have potentially just kind of held higher levels here. If you look in its past, we had a few down days in the market right here, so it still looks pretty solid. If this thing can break 876, break of 876, we're going to 959, potentially higher. Short-term price target for me on this is 11 to 12. Long-term price target, especially if they get a deal with Apple or any of those people that use lithium-ion carbonate batteries, dude, this thing is going to go absolutely parabolic. Promise you that. So we'll see. There's a lot of weird news tying this company with Apple. If you really dig deep into it, Apple is saying that they want the lithium-ion carbonate battery. CBAT's one of the only makers of that type. So we'll see. I would like to dig even a little deeper myself, but I think this company has strong potential for its future. If I were to bet on a stock that's going to perform well this year as a whole, this would be one of them. As you guys can see, this thing was cheap too, 60 cents. So still dangerous because it just ran from 60 cents to $12, but it's trading in a pretty solid uptrend right now. And then it looks like we're about to have a cross. Need a little more buying volume in here. There's not nearly the volume that there was over here, but that's just because it ran and it hasn't had news in a little while. So with news comes
a lot of
catalyst.
attentions on the crypto game right now too. So.
Yeah, and penny stocks in general. You guys see, like, I like CIDM, man. I like this company in general. I've been talking about, we got this thing at 63 cents down here. We literally bought this at 63 cents down here at support levels. I told everybody I'm long on this company. You look into CIDM, man, they're a pretty cool company. They really are. I don't think they deserve to be 60 cents. They've been churning pretty heavy. It keeps finding new support levels. It did here, and it did here, and it's bouncing. I think that this level should hold up here. I like for it to eventually have one of these big breakouts it had earlier in the year. This thing ran all the way up to $6. So I'll be watching this right here. This level right here is key. If CIDM breaks 243, right, this thing has a massive gap up to potentially shoot back towards this $4 to $6 range. So if you drag this thing straight across, this is a very, very key resistance level that this thing needs to break. It just tested it, just got rejected. I can think that within the next few weeks, if penny stocks are still trending and this can get some news, that it can push and break this line and potentially start filling this gap right here. So I'll be watching it. I already swing traded it for from 63. We trimmed some at 80, trimmed some at $1, trimmed some more at $1.50. We just kind of been trimming this thing on the way up, and now I have some free shares of it, and I like the company. I like it. I'm gonna hold it this year and just see what it turns into. Worst case scenario, it goes all the way back down. I'm only losing some profit on this thing, so I'm not really worried about it. The upside's a lot bigger than the downside to me because I've looked into this company and I like what they do. So,
Hey, can we look at Neo?
yep.
Thanks.
So Neo, really it looks good, to be honest with you. I know how crazy that sounds. So Neo, same as it had back here, right? So you can essentially do this. So Neo had a nice little flag pattern right here. Okay. So here was the first run on Neo. This one had a nice gap up, sold off, found its new support, tested the downtrend, was rejected, found support, tested the downtrend, found support, broke out. So here was the buy. We bought Neo here. Dominican, if he's still in the room, you guys all know that we bought Neo at this break right here, and we ran it up for like a 150 or a 200% gain, I believe. I don't think we sold it all the way at 66. We trimmed some on the way up. Can't always catch things perfectly as high as they go. It's almost impossible to do. But since then, this was this last run. Found support, tested, found support, and it looks like it broke out of its downtrend right here. And if you look at this on a lower time frame, it's hugging this line that it broke out at. So this was the break. It hasn't lost this break yet. Okay, as you can see this right here, it's hugging this perfectly. Until this loses this line, I would say that this one can absolutely push towards that $64 range. Until it proves that it's going to lose this, sometimes they just ride for a few days, man, before they break out and before they get news, right? So if you look at Palantir on its last breakout right here, if you guys remember this, Palantir broke out and it hugged that line too, and then it trended up and then broke out. But the key is it never lost its full break on that, and then it broke out all the way to $45. It looked to be doing the same thing until recently, and then the bad earnings kind of killed it. So I had felt that Palantir was going to do this same exact flag pattern as it was doing. It looked like it was in the first stage of it until it got bad earnings, kind of lost support, is now at a previous support level. We'll see if it can reclaim that in the days to come, but we'll just have to see. Sometimes earnings or a negative catalyst comes out and just kills the momentum on a stock. But this is the very key pattern that I look for on that, and Neo essentially is in that right now as it was right here. So as long as this holds, and I'll show you one more that looked just like this. We played it recently as well for a quick 300% gain. American Airlines, when this broke right here, okay, so see American Airlines, support came up, technically broke the downtrend here, okay? It didn't look great, but it hugged this line for a matter of days right here, and then it just kind of took off. So sometimes it just doesn't fly immediately. Sometimes it loves to hug this line for a few days and then start to uptrend. And then American Airlines held its new support levels, and it then broke out to $30.65. Had one big run, big rally in the morning. I believe it was based off of like JetBlue or something having surprise earnings beat. And right now it's just consolidating again. So we'll see. You guys know I posted BA recently. I made a video on it too. Told you guys this thing was going to right where it's at. So do watch some of those videos that I post, man. Some of these things, you know, I can't post every idea I have, man, but some of these ideas are awesome. So Boeing was right here when I made the video on it. Told you guys that I liked it to break the downtrend, and right now it looks pretty solid. It was like right at 205. So right here, 206 was the break. So I made the video on Boeing as soon as it broke this level, because these things like to trade sideways and then shoot up. And I even showed Emily, I even drew this exact thing that it was going to do, and I told her that it was going to do just that. But right now, it looks like it just got rejected at this top level. You can see 217.49. So looking at this, still 206 to 217, not a bad trade. It since came down, and it just retested this line for the second time. Here's 1, here's 2. Looks like it just got rejected on it right here. Look for this thing to reclaim this new support level and probably test this line again. I think eventually this line gets broken. I think that Boeing long term is going to go a heck of a lot higher than it is right now. I think that long term it's probably going to reclaim some of its pre-COVID levels. It may take some time now, but don't forget that this thing has a lot of room to go once it does. It's underrated in the space sector. It's underrated in the defense sector. Boeing has a lot more stuff going on than just airplanes. So just keep that out there. And this is a very key level for Boeing. If you look at this, it's 242.86, right? Because see this level here, this is where it was rejected at. If this ever does uptrend again and break this level, we have big upside right there. So I'll be watching that level closely if it ever does trend heavily. Some of these things like to gap up instantly. So back to NEO, I would just watch that, man. Watch this line, make sure that this support level holds, and see if we can uptrend. Do they have earnings coming soon? I think it does, right?
Yeah, 1st of March or something.
Okay.
March.
Well, I like NEO long term. It's been an amazing run it's had this year. It's unbelievable that this thing was $2 when I was first looking at this thing. So I found out about NEO when it was $2 back in this range, and it's just had an amazing run this year. And if you look at their cars are beautiful. If you look at their batteries, you know, the way that they're doing the battery swapping and stuff like that, I mean, they're beating all competitors, even Tesla in ways in that regard. But to go from $1 to, you know, $66.99, amazing run, an amazing year it's had. Most people's price target for NEO is high. Most of them are 100 or higher. Some of them are even higher than that, I believe. Maybe not on tip ranks, but I've seen a lot of analysts that had a lot of high PTs for this thing. So 80, 70, some of these guys, who knows who these unrated guys are, but NEO is not going back to $2.50. That's insane. But the worthy ones, 4-star analysts, 5-star analysts, they have it at 60 to 70. So we'll see. NEO's still got news to come. We played NEO last time because of NEO Day. Really easy trade to trade into a catalyst like that. So tonight, when I'm done with you guys, I'm really going to start digging into some earnings plays next week. And I'm going to try to find some more of these breakout plays for you guys, like Salesforce and a few other ones, because these are really easy trades, and I want you guys to bank on these like we did with Baidu. So Baidu's.
If you look at one last one, brother, my bad.
Hey Dale, can you look at
Solo?
STNT?
Solo?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it looks good to me. Looks really good. It looks like it's just kind of in a really solid little uptrend right here. I'm looking at it like this, and I'm going to look at it like this. So let's just go over this way. Most of its resistance levels, essentially, you know, it's hard when they have these big spikes like that. You know, it's hard to just like draw these lines to the tip of that, because that's not really relative to where you actually see support on these things. This one's mostly trading like this. So this
I
is
thought the bottom of this. I thought might be a good point to get in.
I think it looks really good. I think that Solo is gonna go just like this. If we can, this is a climbing wedge. So, I mean, look at this. Test. Eventually, one of these times, this one is going to test to the upside and break this, and you have a nice gap to fill up towards 1360. So, for a $7.93 stock, for a $3 gain, you're talking about a massive options move on there. So, what I will say is it definitely needs some volume. There's not really volume for this stock or for EV in general right now. EV just kind of went on such a big run, man. Metals are still doing really well. I told everybody within the last 2 months that metals were going to take the year. All those precious metals that go into lithium-ion batteries and circuit boards and all those precious metals, they're still going to rally even more this year. They're not even close to being done yet. The demand hasn't even started to shrivel yet. But I'm going to keep solo. I'm definitely going to keep this thing on watch. Looks good. This is a really solid trading pattern. I say support holds, and this one kind of just uptrends. And eventually we can test one of these breaks. What was the stock that the other personnel asked for?
STMP, just looking at it. Got earnings tomorrow.
STMP?
Yes.
Stamps.com? Okay. You know what, man? I think that it already made its run. So if you look at this right here, very, very clear resistance here and here. It just had that little rally, just got rejected at it. I think most of that's probably priced in. If this thing does not crush earnings tomorrow, look for this to come all the way back to this right here. Just being honest. So
okay.
This was an area that it broke out at. So this was a very key area you can see from its past. So this tested and retested, then it broke out and gapped up. Looks like it just got rejected right at 283.40. It can, now don't get me wrong, if this thing has good earnings tomorrow, this absolutely can test and break this area. I just don't know how much upside there is if it does break out. I guess it did gap up to 325.13. Let me look at the long term on it. So it's up there, man. This thing's near all-time high right now. So you scale all the way back on this thing. If it completely breaks out, it could potentially gap fill this here. But seeing as that the history on this, it couldn't break this level here. Uptrend, momentarily broke out and lost. Got rejected at the same level here, and seeing it's getting rejected at it now, the probability is not in its favor, considering its history that it was rejected at this level every single time. I would say that unless it does really well in earnings, that it will come back to this level right here at 345.36 or potentially 359.20. That's just based off the chart, based off of, I don't know the fundamentals of this company. It could be a really good company. It's not one that I really follow. Let's see what the earnings are saying on it.
It's really cool because it ties into Shopify.
Oh, really?
A lot of big Shopify companies, like I use it for my Shopify store. And then a lot of people, like medium businesses, use it for fulfilling orders and then getting out like the PO boxes and stuff like that.
Okay, well, it looks like they've been crushing earnings, man. So you see back here, they've done well, and they're projected to do well again. The only thing is sometimes with those ones that are projected to do so well, you know, they have to really beat those things, man. Those high expectations are notable, but looking at the chart, I mean, it's literally at a key level that it has not been able to break ever. So it's literally never broken that level one time in its history. So it's really hard for me to say that will this time. But if it does now we can watch this for a breakout play. Okay, if this breaks 283.03, because of earnings tomorrow. Look for this thing to gap up towards 320. Simple as that. Because you can see, you can see this gap up right here. The last time it did break out, gapped up quickly. So it's a potential breakout play if it can break this area. So I'll save that, especially with the good earnings, and it's projected to have good earnings. Looks good for a breakout play if it can bust that area down. So I'm going to save that for us. Oops.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dell, do you have anything on AI as far as AI companies, since every new company or,
I like the company a lot. I'll tell you that. It's been on a tear. Give me 1 second. I'll check it out. Sorry about that. I want to take a quick snip of this chart. That way I remember it tomorrow. Okay. Let's go. All right. AI. What was the other question? Somebody else had one?
No, it was just on AI.
Okay.
I mean, just not preferably the stock, but do you have any kind of companies or anything in on your radar as far as using, like, coming big in artificial intelligence? Because I was watching the interview and they were saying that AI, like all the big companies down to the little companies need it, because everything's about taking real-time data and information.
Oh, absolutely.
And, making a decision. So from Netflix to Amazon to whoever, and it's expensive. So I was trying to research companies to kind of get long in, because I mean especially with the EV market and more things coming to market of just do it yourself and know and learn.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the objective. So. Is it? I saw this ticker and another one. I think it was Grapefruit, but I'm not sure because they partnered on the RAD. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll compile a list for you. Me and Emily do have some artificial intelligence ones. Some a little bit under the radar. Some that you wouldn't really think are artificial intelligence companies. Like some of those. Integrate different information in ways that you really wouldn't expect, kind of like how Facebook does, right? Like you don't think of Facebook as an artificial intelligence company, but in ways they are, because what they do is compile information and use it for marketing, and they compile information in a ton of different ways, and that's why they're having those battles with Apple right now about those privacy laws, because Tim Cook's basically saying that the new iPhone 13 isn't going to have Facebook on it or Google. He's trying to get rid of both of them, so that's going to be a big battle going on there. We're going to have to monitor that situation closely, but we'll definitely shoot some AI stocks to you guys. And me and Emily are with you on that, and that's why we try to jump over.
You touched a point too with that big thing, like battling for privacy and security, where they're just trying to say, like, they're only using it for marketing and stuff, but at the end of the day, like you said, it's making those decisions. And then also after that, I just have one more question about the FinViz. So I noticed on FinViz, when you go to the home, it'll present charts that are already in certain patterns. Do you trust those, or like go down where it says signal?
Oh yeah.
Like hit right there, it'll say like wedge.
Yeah. Those are real patterns. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know if you look at those, because at that point it would just need a catalyst or something to see. When that's going to
see, the thing is with FinViz patterns though, these are all long-term patterns. These are like over a year or 5 years. They're not like short-term patterns. So when you look at these, say for example, you go to, let's see, channel down. All right, we'll look at one of these like Home Depot. It's looking at a channel down since September. This is a channel down. You see it? It's kind of in a descending channel down, very slow. You can still profitably trade these at these support levels down here for short swings, but overall it's still downtrending from its run. It maxed out here. So absolutely, FinViz is really good for these patterns, and I like the long-term trends like this better. I don't look at things on a short-term basis whatsoever. I think that when people look at daily charts and weekly charts and stuff, it really kind of gets them out of. When I'm watching these, and we played Home Depot, we asked C. McMillan or any of these guys that are in here, we bought this thing every time this thing was down here at 260, man. Easy swing trade towards 280. We hit on it every single time. So I like these trades, and I like looking at FinVits as well. But I like Trade Ideas better. Trade Ideas absolutely has better patterns for me personally, and there's some really good dudes on here and shows you all the text. So let's see. Well, this guy's bullish on a company that I'm bullish on too. So let's see what he has to say. Reverse head and shoulders, you can see here. Let's see, double bottom, upward trend, and bullish divergence on the RSI. So that's all bullish divergence is, guys. You're just seeing kind of higher lows, essentially. That's all it is. Don't have to overcomplicate things. A lot of people try to make things sound more complex than they really are. I try to simplify them. I buy at support, I trade into resistance, and I try to use a catalyst to bring a little volume into the trade. That's it. Very simple. I don't try to do too much. When you overtrade and you overdo things is when you start getting yourself in trouble, man. Keep it simple and trust your chart and trust your catalyst. Like this, you just brought up AI, looks like it's going to bounce right here, right? Now, because this is so new, though, and because this thing just ran to 190 and is real choppy, I can imagine that the options chain, the IV is pretty high. Not terrible, though, only 120%. But if you get into those ones, man, that are so parabolic right now, look at the IV people are paying for on this. They're paying 200% implied volatility on, 48 strikes on these things. That's insane to be paying that type of price for these stocks. That's vastly overpaying. I would be trying to sell some covered calls, puts. I would be playing anything but bullish calls on this thing right now. I'll tell you that. But going back over to this, the best trades, guys, are low IV, something you don't need a huge dollar move to hit big on. I definitely like this. I don't know how many of you guys got into my leaps I just called on take, but I give it a very, very, very high probability to hit. I give it a 90% chance to hit, just so you guys know. I'm that confident in it. I give this a 90% chance to hit my strike, all right? I'm basing it off of many, many reasons. I say that bare minimum, this thing goes to $20. Absolute bare minimum, more likely to go to 21, potentially even push towards that 25 to 30, all right? And there's so many reasons I believe this. The number one reason is historically it's never been below this level other than COVID-19 right here. It's historically low. And then beyond being historically low, it has one of the best pipelines in regards to FDA approvals I've ever seen. I mean, it is just so much. If even half of these things get decent revenue coming out of it, and this company is going to go a heck of a lot higher than that. I mean, look at this. It's seriously insane. Phase 3, Phase 2, approved. Phase 3. I mean, they're at the near Phase 2 or 3 across the board. And that's a lot of different catalysts right there, man. And a lot of these are all this year, 2021. So I'm telling you, if just one or two of these end up being successful as a $30 stock, if all 10 of them get to be successful, it's a $100 or $200 stock, all right? So for me to be able to get leaps on this thing for super cheap, and I only need to go up $2.50, it's unreal. It's a free play. The volume is high on it. So I got January 2022, $20 strike. This thing is only $142, man. So I'll take that all day in America.
What about CRISPR bio?
282.
Say again.
What about CRISPR on that bio catalyst page?
I
I need you
mean,
to look it up the other day.
yeah, it can. It just, you know.
No. On that biofarm catalyst page. That's what I was asking.
Oh,
I know the chart already.
it doesn't have anything immediate. It has one, but we'll look it up. I got it all already saved, Jason. CRISPR's one of my highest conviction stocks in the world. So
It looks like the chart is ready, but I don't know about catalyst because I don't have a.
Yeah, it's just on. Yeah, I'll shoot it to you as soon as we're done with this live. There's a lot of info on it, man. But I've been on here for 2 hours, man. I've been standing this entire time. I'm wrapping this up, guys. I still got a ton of studying to do to finish our plays for tomorrow. If you guys want to make money tomorrow, you guys need me to study a little bit. But I just want to get on here and show you guys a few things, show you how I research stuff, show you how I buy, show you how not to trade, man. Don't try to get rich every single day, right? Take your time your entries right, and allocate your portfolio accordingly. Don't go all in on options that expire in a week. Buy some equity, buy some growth stocks, spread the wealth a little bit, man. You can go in and hit some big hits on some of these things. You guys know I'm always going to come up with a little play like SOS or one of these things, maybe not this huge, but I've called at least 4x penny swings this year. I've called about 4 or 5 of them already just since January. So we're going to have plenty of these, man. Don't try to make too many plays. Just let me find it and let me see it. If you see it, shoot it to me and we'll play it together. But don't chase these parabolic stocks, all right? And don't allow a few market days to crush your portfolio. That's really what I wanted to share with a lot of people tonight. And I wanted you to see how I trade. I wanted you to see how I look at these charts and these stocks, and I wanted you to see how I research them, okay? And this is just part of it. This is just one part of about 10 parts. Emily comes over here. We start with this just to get a very basic overview of it, and then we spend hours digging into it, finding different things about their cash and if they have offerings coming, if they have negative catalysts. I mean, we look into a lot of things, man, and we spend a lot of hours of our life trying to give you guys the best setups, and even they don't work sometimes. Nothing is perfect in the stock market. Like SBE, there's no way that me and Emily could have accounted that the voters wouldn't vote on that, right? There's just no way that we could possibly know that sometimes those negative catalysts come and it just happens that way. So you got to kind of roll with the punches on that. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys for joining me. If anyone wants to go over anything that I have on here, I'll be posting it on the YouTube tonight. So thank you guys for joining. If you do have any additional questions, just shoot it to me on the side. Try to keep it after hours on the market. Just know that during the market times, guys, I'm trying to get you guys the best setups I can. And recently I've been answering primitive questions more than I have been like trying to help you guys. And it makes it difficult for me to help you when most of my days just responding to parabolic penny stocks. So just keep those to a minimum, please, all right? And it'll help you in the long run. But you guys take it easy, man. Thank you guys. And we're going to continue to do this every week until everyone's on the same page, and we're going to crush this year. We crushed last year, and we're going to do the same thing this year. I'm going for $1 million this year, just so all of you know. So we'll see.
Thanks, Dale.
Yeah, no problem, man. See you guys later.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.